Now let me start by drawing a line. You know how to draw a line. A simple line starts with an endpoint and finishes with an endpoint, but I want to show you other types of line here. So I go to Insert, go to Profile, and go to Lines here. You can see that I have simple line that I have worked with that. I have infinite line. I'm not going to work with this here. I have bitangent line, bisecting line, and line normal to curve. Let me select this one first. And it tells me click to define the first extremity of the line. So I select here, for example. It tells me now select a curve. So I select this curve, and you can see that the circle is some kind of curve. So I select this. Now you can see that there is a perpendicularity to the circle, and the line is like this. So if I double click on line, you can see the dialog box that is here. It tells me that it has about 100 millimeters from the horizontal vector and 70 millimeter from the vertical vector, and this is the first endpoint. And the second endpoint is like this. I have an angle like this, and I have a length of, for example, 65 millimeter. I want to have it about, for example, 75 millimeter. I click on OK. You can see that the circle changes or the line changes based on the constraint that you have had for this. So if I want to increase the length of this line without changing the position of circle, I can select circle center like this by clicking on this little point. Go to constraint define and select the fix. You can see this anchor that tells me the circle is going to be fixed. So I click on this, and again double click on line and make it, for example, 75 millimeter. Click on OK. Now you can see that the line increases in length, but the circle doesn't change its position. Okay, this is some kind of line. Let me draw another circle here. I want to show you how I can draw a bitangent line. Now, having these two circles, I go to Insert, Profile, Line, and select a bitangent line here. I need to select one tangency, for example, to this circle, and the second tangency, and that is this circle. And you can see that there is a line that is tangent. Now you can see these little equals shape constraints here that tells me there is a tangent, and of course there is a coincidence also here. So you have a line by tangency here. Now you have other types of lines. I'm not going to talk about all types of lines, but this is very nice feature in creating lines. Okay, let me press Control button and up arrow key, and if it is not activated, just click in somewhere blank here. Now I want to show you how I can draw a rectangle. A simple rectangle is under Profile and under Predefined Dialog, the predefined profiles. And by clicking on this, you can have a rectangle that is vertically aligned to your environment. You can see that I clicked the first endpoint, and now click the second endpoint. The rectangle is there, and because the geometrical constraints is enabled, you can see that Catia tries to add as many constraints as it can apply to my shape. Now you can see that I have some vertical and some horizontal constraints here. Now if I want to change the dimension, I can double click on lines and change the dimension. For example, this is 70 millimeter. I want it to be 90 millimeter, and click on OK. Now you can see that it changes in dimension. And of course, I can add a dimension constraint and change the constraint. I can go and click on constraints here, and click on this line, click somewhere here. Now you can see that this is 90 millimeter. I can double click on that and type in, for example, 110 millimeter, and hit OK. Now all the measures by default are millimeter because my units are like that. If I want to change the units, I can go to Tools, go to Options, and now here I can find the, let me bring it into my capture environment. Click on General, Parameters and Measures here, and under Parameters and Measures you can find the Units tab, and you can see that the length is by default in millimeter. If I want to change it, I select the length, go here, and select the unit that I want to work with. For example, if I want to change the time, and instead of showing in second, I want to show it in hours, so I go to select hour here. Now, or if I want to change the volume, for example, or mass, instead of having kilograms, I can select pound, grams, tons, anything else that I want. So this is an easy way to change. And of course, you do not need to change anything. If you want to have this in other, units, you can change it right here. I double click on this, you can see the millimeter in front of this. Instead of millimeter, I can have centimeter, I can have inches. I can just type in, for example, if I want it to be 110 centimeter, I can type cm here and click on OK. You can see that it changes. Now let me zoom out by pressing Ctrl button and pressing page down, and I want to move it a little down. You can see that it shows 1100 millimeters here. Now I just want to press Ctrl Z to go back to its initial state, and let me go up. Now this is 110 millimeters again. Let me show you other types of rectangle. I want to go to Insert menu, go to Profile, go to Predefined Profile, and select Oriented Rectangle here. By this, it tells me select a start point. I click here. It tells me select a point to locate the first side. For example, I want it to be here. This is the first side. Now it tells me select your second side. Now this is my second side, and whenever you do this, you can have different degrees here. Again, Catia tries to add as many constraints as it can apply. You can see I have 2 parallelism and 1 perpendicularity here. And if I want to change it, I can do this. I double click on this line. If I'm not happy with the, for example, angle, I want it to be about in 30 degrees. So I type in -30 and click on OK. You can see that it changes. And of course, I will show you how you can rotate your shapes later. And this is an easy way to draw this type of rectangle. Let's go to Insert menu and select another type of rectangle. It is gonna be a parallelogram. I click on this. And let me have an empty area. It tells me to click the start point, again the first side, and now it tells me select the second side. And you can see that I do not have to have perpendicularity. Whenever I click on somewhere, it is done. And you can see that it just adds to parallelism to my shape. So you know how to draw a line, how to draw a rectangle. Next I will talk about other shapes.